How's it going, everyone? Today's episode, we're going to be refitting the LSD differential into the Genesis Sedan and also mocking up our dual caliper setup. Alright, so first order of business I'm going to do is take off the 4 bolts that hold the wheel hub on and then pop the wheel hub assembly off. So the 6 bolts on the back are done. 4 for the wheel bearing, 4 for this little block down here that comes out. Gotta take the wheel bearing off first though. So what I'm going to do on the back side of the outer ring around the wheel bearing is just tap it all the way along with this. Not on the bearing itself, just around the rim, the race of it. Oh yeah, there it is. Okay. As you guys see, there's the wheel bearing. Not that big of a lip, so just gotta work our way around the outside lip right here. And then the shield with this bracket comes off just like that, which we will not be reusing this in my application. So it appears that there's like a little notch right here that it's supposed to have a cutaway for, but it doesn't seem to want to sit on perfectly flat. It's like it's almost there, it's just not quite. So I might need to notch away a little bit more of this material. Alright, so obviously where we left off, we had just taken the wheel bearings off, and I got a little carried away last night after that previous video that you guys watched. I went ahead and grabbed out one of the dual caliper brackets and test fitted it. These are meant for the Genesis Coupe, not the Sedan, so I thought everything was going to be exactly the same. Unfortunately, they are not. So this would be a better look at the material that needs to be taken off to actually clearance the bracket correctly. As you can see, it is quite a bit, and now it doesn't look as bad on camera, so that's a plus. So it is a good idea to use like a Bristol pad to clean up this mating surface. That way when you put the plate on, it actually seals in nice and true. So one thing you are going to need is axles. Now you can either take 3.8 Sedan like stock axles, or you can get brand new ones like I did. Now the factory Sedan for the 3.8, the regular axles will work. If you have a 4.6 or 5.0, you will need to change them. Now if you want to get new ones, I went with the Import Direct brand, which are supposed to be like a OE equivalent or brand new. I've used a lot of products in the past and they seem to be a good option. So this is the part number right here for the passenger side, HY 8269. This is a passenger. And then on the driver's side, you will need an HY 8272. This is to be your driver's side. These do come with new axle nuts and washer. Well, at least that one did. I'll have to reuse the washer, I guess, but it did come with a new axle nut. I might just reuse my old one just because it was already on the car and I know that it works good. The spindle side is the same from the 3.8 to the 5.0 and the 4.6, but the differential side gear splines are different, so that's why you need the different axles, and I think they're slightly different lengths. I know that the splines are different, so you will need to get 3.8 Genesis Sedan axles, not the coupe, the Sedan ones, and then we should be able to just go ahead and slot the spindle sides in and let them droop down where the differential would go, and then we should be able to slide the differential in, set the splines on both sides, and then lift, and they'll go in on each side, and we should be able to put it in place and install it. Alright, and now that this side is finished completely, got it bolted in, hit it with the impact, and double checked with the breaker bar on the back side just to make sure they were snug, and they are. So I went ahead and also did the driver side as well. Again, just tightened them with the impact, and then went back with the breaker bar and made sure they were snug, and they are. Now that this is done, I'm gonna go ahead and start working on taking out that differential bushing that is right back there. So the trick is not sticking it all the way down inside of it, just pushing up against like halfway of the rubber, and then it'll pop off. There are like protrusions on these little rings that stick on 3 of them, so they do seat into the drive shaft right on the end right here. So that's why it puts up a fight. Now, you can't just go out and buy this piece from Hyundai because they want to sell you a whole drive shaft. But a buddy of mine actually turned me on to a different coupler that's the same dimensions and works. It's actually from a Porsche. As you can see on top of here, there's a lot of different stress marks and cracks. This is due from, you know, age and you know, abuse and my driving patterns and whatnot. But this will also cause like vibration, like when you're turning in a corner and accelerating, you get that like that rumble or vibration. That's what this is from. There are 2, one on the front by the transmission as well, but that one requires basically removing a lot of stuff to get to it. I'm personally probably not going to cover that for a long time, or at least a while until I, you know, go that deep into it. But okay, so with my new coupler, I'm gonna go ahead and install it. Obviously, looks fresh, new rubber. So we do have to line up the 3 protrusions with the pieces on top of the drive shaft. Alright, so new drive shaft bushing is on. Looks pretty good. As you can see, fresh, no cracks, ready to move on to the diff. Alrighty, so I'm going to be installing these axles. One thing I like to do before installing an axle is putting anti-seize on the hub side. That way it doesn't stick in case for whatever reason you need to take it out. Just lube up the splines on the shaft and on the hub, and then we can go ahead and insert them. That, slide that in, and we should be able to just let this droop right here. That should be fine. I'll go ahead and slide around and put the axle nut on. I will switch back to my original one, but just so it can't pop back out. Okay, that side just slides right in. Alright, so now that these are hanging like this, I'm going to put the axle nut on the driver's side now. We should be able to get our differential and get it in between here. Slot one in, slot the other one in, and then lift. And it should be able to bolt right up and put our 4 mounting bolts back in. And that will be our differential swapped. No, you're good. Did I rush you? Nope. Set that right there. Alright, cool. Alright, so the LSD differential is now installed. I still have to tighten the bolts on top of the drive shaft to make sure that it sinks in, because right now there's a bit of a gap. But beyond that, just got to tighten the control arms that I did on the side, and put back my exhaust. And oh, I still have to tighten these bolts too on the diff. I haven't actually like tightened them down all the way, but I'm going to go back and get them really tight. So this is my little contraption to tighten the bolts back in without an impact. I like to get them all the way in first, and then I'll zap them real quick with an impact just to get them really in there, but I don't really like driving them with an impact, so 3/8 with a swivel, and then 1/2 inch, but it goes pretty much straight, avoids the batteries. You guys probably won't have 2 batteries like I do, so should make it a lot better of a straight shot for you, but still works good, and I'm able to, you know, turn it, drive them in, so cool. Alright, so I got the last 2 bolts tight in the rear, and that's pretty much the differential installed. Now all we need to do is fill it with fluid, obviously, put our exhaust back up, the 2 cross brackets that go onto the subframe underneath the axles, and should be able to test drive it. Obviously, the dual calipers are not set up yet, and that's alright because technically there's no lines or anything ran yet. Cool little thing that I realized while installing the new axles is that the wheel bearing bolts are actually not impossible to get to now with these axles, because these axles are slightly smaller than the V8 axles are. So that's pretty cool. Now, if I ever need to change out a wheel bearing, I can probably get in there with a really skinny socket and access those. Same thing on this side. See, access, access, access. Can't really see it, but it's there, trust me. As you can see, the coupler is in place. Everything's tightened down on it. These ones are the reverse threaded. These ones are standard thread. Alright, so the time crept up on me. I got done pretty much when it was dark. As you guys can see, we got the LSD differential in with the axles. We got the exhaust back up. Got the side plates put back on top of the subframe. Got the e-brake cables moved out of the way and zip tied down so that those aren't going to move anymore. I do also have the control arms, you know, with the bolts back in. I haven't tightened them down yet, so that's something I'm about to do. We also got the dual caliper brackets officially put in with the wheel bearings tightened, so that is awesome. We'll have a couple more things to do, but that's going to be for our next video. I appreciate you guys sticking around and watching this. I'm actually going to get started working on it again, but you guys will catch this in the next video. If you enjoy these videos and like this kind of content, give the video a like. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Button's right there as well. Appreciate you guys watching. Have a good day.